Well, hello again. This is Ruth Hay, and today I would like to talk to you about where authors get their ideas. Now, I get my ideas absolutely anywhere. I read the newspapers, and sometimes you'll get a letter from the editor or some article that just sparks your mind. I always make a note or clip the whole article so that I have a record of it. And occasionally it'll go in a file, and then later on I'll look at the file and I'll say, yeah, that's what I want to write about now. So today I want to tell you in particular about a personal item. They say authors should write about what they know, and what you know is your life and your life experience. Sometimes it's not your own life, it's lives that touch yours. You can hear a story about a relative or a friend, and you think, that really needs to be told, maybe in a fictional way, but it needs to be told. And that's what happened with me. It was a family member who had gone through a pretty bad experience with a partner. I hadn't known about it as it was going along, because if you're having a really hard time, often you do not want to tell anyone, and you don't want anyone to know what you're going through. So when it came to the point where I finally heard the whole story, and believe me, it was a pretty scary story, I found I couldn't get rid of this in my mind, so I decided I needed to do something to get it out of me and into a format that might help someone else. And so began this book. It's called Borderlines, as you see, and that will give you a clue as to what the relationship issue was. I won't go into that, I'll just tell you how it developed into my story. I wanted to make this about a female who was going through a very bad time, because I can write more effectively about women, obviously. So I turned the story around, I put it in a different place and a different time, over a time period that was quite different also, and I began to think of how this story could develop. So it was a woman who was experiencing a relationship that was not what she thought it was. And these really bad relationships can develop quite quickly, and the people who are in them, particularly the women, don't really know what's going on until it's way too late. And this became a very dangerous situation for Rena, who's the person in the story. And Rena knew she would have to escape. But an awful lot happens to Rena before she gets to that point. What I'd like to do is read you the very beginning of this book, Borderlines. It has a sort of subtitle, Fear is Just the Beginning. And it was the beginning for her. But the very first page will give you an idea of how tense this kind of story has to be, how you have to add drama to it right from the beginning. I hope you'll enjoy it. Chapter 1, Sussex, England, 2016. She chose the time and location with extreme care. If there was to be even the smallest hope of success, she wanted the setting to give her confidence. If, as was more likely, she would be utterly rejected, she needed to have a quick exit. It was mid-afternoon. The restaurant was recovering from the morning rush, and preparations for the evening meals had not yet begun. She sat at a booth facing the entrance and near to the side exit. There was a glass of chilled mineral water in front of her, and she watched the condensation drip down its sides. She knew her hands were shaking so much there was no chance she could lift the glass for a sip without letting it smash onto the tiled floor. There was still the opportunity to flee, never to return. But she had done that before, and this was the last chance for some kind of normality in her life. She had learned the hard way the value of truth. She would not turn back now. It was too late for that. So this story of Rena actually starts near the end, and we go back and find out how she got to this position where she feels she is willing to try again with a new person in her life, but she's carrying with her the baggage from the awful experiences she had. And what she does, what I thought made the story quite interesting, is she actually flees from this person. She flees from the borderline personality disorder man that she was involved with. And she has to leave him completely so no one can ever trace her, because these people can be quite dangerous. So she's gone away, she's gone to England, and now she's trying to bring a new life together in her life. But that person who she's going to meet in the restaurant does not know about her past. So you can understand why she was so nervous about it. I really enjoyed writing this book, and as I said, I got a lot of the things that were bothering me out of my head and into the book, and I could finally come to terms with what had happened to someone in the family. So you see, ideas can come from anywhere. Sometimes they're really bright, wonderful things, and other times they're quite sad. I also wanted you to know that this book and all the other books I've talked about, and more books to come, can be found here. You can check into my website and get a monthly free newsletter, or you can look online and find an ebook or a paperback at any of these places. In fact, pretty much anywhere you can get my books. All you need to know is my name, and that part's easy. Hope you'll have fun reading and also learn something wonderful. Bye for now.